Hey everybody. I had to turn off my dishwasher, it was too loud, but I wanted to do another quick live, and sorry I'm not announcing some of these before I go live. I'm just trying to squeeze them in whenever I can, and I'd rather do an unannounced live and have you watch it later on than not do it, just because it's just easier for me to get in here and answer questions live. And I also wanted to talk about a couple of things. So I want to talk about this idea that life is happening for us and that every experience that is coming to us, even the difficult ones, like the stuff with my father, that is, of course, still going on, right? Even these difficult things and even all the things that I'm going to comment on now in this live, because there's a bunch of questions in here about how you deal with things. Yeah, Kate, totally unannounced live. I didn't plan on doing it. I just decided to jump in and answer some questions because I just want to get as much as I can answered, because I'm going to be gone from January 29th until I think February 14th. And so I want to keep answering questions because I'm feeling so alive about this idea. And it's what I talk about in Module 1, Part 1 a little bit. But when I redo the course, which I'm doing right now, I'm going to mention this a lot more because it is such a powerful way to use this in all parts of your life. Hey, Beth. So glad you're here. It's a totally unannounced live. So do not worry that you did not know about it. So sorry about that. I was saying, though, I'd rather come in here unannounced just when I can squeeze it in, because I had people coming today and a delivery, and I didn't know when I was going to be able to get here live. So I'm glad to be able to squeeze this in because I'm really, really excited about this idea of using every experience in our lives. And I'm doing this right here with you as well. And I think I'm doing this much better in my life right now. So I'm able to share it with you in a way that I hope will click for you as well. And I talk about this in Smaller Size, Bigger Life, but I'm going to expand on it a lot when I redo the course, because it's the idea that life is happening for us. All the experiences that are coming into our life, every single one, the good and the bad, and even this experience with my father, which is still going on, the idea that these things are coming to us simply to help us become clear and to help us see the blocks and beliefs and the false beliefs and all of this conditioning that is running our lives, right? It helps. All these things come to us so that we can start to see these things, raise our awareness and our clarity. I'm sorry, I have a text coming in from somebody. Okay, it's gone. So we can, hold on, the text. I need to figure out how to turn the text off. Okay, so we can start getting clear and start understanding the beliefs, the false beliefs, the fear story that is running our lives, because we can't break free from it if we're not aware of it, if we don't see it. And so these experiences come into our life to help us see the fear story that's running our life and to help us get clear on the false beliefs and the stuck emotional energy in our life that needs to be released. Because, and then the question always is, well, how did we get here? How did we pick up all of these false beliefs, and why are we, why do we have to do this work to begin with? And sorry, the text keeps coming up and I'm hoping it's done now. But in any case, these things happen naturally in life. And if you grew up in a challenging childhood home like I did, where there was a lot of neglect, obviously the opportunity to get wounded and to pick up false beliefs and to find ways to survive is obvious, right? You don't have a choice. But even if you grow up in a very loving, normal home, we can pick up these conditions as well, because, your parents, by doing their very best to love you, if you pick up the idea that in order to be loved, I have to be good, or in order to get attention, I have to act out, which is also just a cry for love, right? Like, no one's giving me attention in this home, so what can I do to get attention? And for a lot of the people in this course, that's probably things like eat too much, have a problem with their weight, starve themselves, do things that create a drama so that your parents start giving you attention. In my words, your parents giving you attention because they're locked and lost in their fear stories. So little you was trying her best to get love. And so you picked up these false beliefs, even like I said, in a normal, safe home, because you are doing the best that you can to get love and attention. You want love and attention when you're growing up, when you're a young kid and no one's paying any attention to you. You do whatever you can to be loved. And oftentimes these are things that hurt us, right? Things that we don't even know are going to hurt us, because the truth is none of us need to do anything to be loved. We should be loved. We're here and we should be loved just for being. We don't have to do anything to be loved. We don't have to change ourselves in order to be loved. And once you get out of that fear story, you start understanding that. You start seeing that you're lovable just because you are here, just because you are a being. You are, we all deserve love. And a part of you knows that. But the conditioning that you pick up in your home and in college, and then all of these wounds that we get throughout life because we don't know how to handle our emotions, because no one teaches us, we have all of this baggage we're carrying around. We're playing out our life according to these false beliefs and these fear stories. And we have all of these emotional wounds and all this trapped emotional energy that is stuck inside of us and that is driving our life. And so it's like getting underneath our patterns and understanding ourselves. And what's beautiful about using the things that come into your life to help you grow, and your issues that you have with food and your weight to help you grow, is that you not only heal your relationship with food, you heal your relationship with yourself, and you heal your relationship with life. And then you are able to be back in life instead of stuck in this conditioned story in your mind, right? And of course, I could name a few ways that we get conditioned, and I'm going to actually try and pull out like the top 10 for the book. But, a lot of times it's what I just said. It's like we aren't getting the attention that we need. And so we gain a lot of weight so that we can get attention. Or we try and starve ourselves so that someone will give us attention. Or if your parents are the type of parents who taught you that, they're trying to love you, right? But they believe that you have to get straight A's in school and you have to, become really, really good in all these different things. And, you're only going to be able to have a happy life if you have straight A's and if you achieve and if you become the top of your class and if you whatever it is. So then you get into that perfection mode where you have to be perfect and you have to always be striving. Oh, I'm only lovable if I'm getting straight A's. Oh, I'm only lovable if I'm the best on the ballet team, or whatever it is, right? Like we get conditioned, this conditioned self we pick up along our life. And even if you grew up in a perfect childhood, there's some conditioning that you picked up that is now playing out in your life. This fear story playing through our minds that we don't even know is there. We don't even know what's going on, which is why in the program I walk you through different the exercises in Smaller Size Bigger Life are designed to help you get aware, to even start noticing all of this that's going on in your mind, because until you are aware of it, you can't change it and you can't shift it, right? So that's what the big picture is, the big one, which is, we get conditioned as a child, and then we pick up wounds throughout our life, and we are living our lives running away from these wounds, running away from the feelings that we think are wrong, and we're playing out this belief that we picked up along the way. So it's all kind of combined. So it's like clearing all of that up and getting aware of all of that so that we can be living from a place of joy and from a place of worthiness and from a place of love. And it's about loving all of you, loving the parts of you that are scared, loving the parts of you that don't know how to react, don't know how to get your emotional needs met without food, right? So that's sort of the big picture, and the idea of using all the things that come into your life every single day to help you become more aware of the fear story and to become more aware of what needs attention in your life. Because I believe with all of my heart that life is bringing us the experiences that will allow us to see what's going on so that we can break free from it, so that we can heal from it. And that is such a radical way of living your life, to realize that everything that's happening, even the bad things, even the hard things, even your struggles with food, they are all there in order to help you heal. To heal, to get out of this fear story in your mind, to stop living according to some beliefs that you picked up along the way, just to get out of that conditioned self and to get back into your heart, to get out of that overthinking mind and into your heart, and to bring up the parts of you that need to be healed and to feel, to allow yourself to feel things. Because how do you heal things? You heal them with love, and you heal them by allowing them to be seen, and just by being with whatever needs to be felt, because you've been running away from certain emotions for a very long time. Audra says, yes, in order to be loved, I always thought I needed to be good. So when things go wrong in my life, I feel like it's because I've done something wrong to cause it, right? That's your fear story. That's your fear story. You were conditioned to believe that in order to get love, you have to be the good girl. And that was me. I was conditioned to believe that the only way I was going to get loved was to take care of my mom, was to be good, was not to cause any more trouble because everybody's already so messed up, and where do I fit in all of that? So the pleaser, right? That's how I picked it up. And so now that you are aware of that, the fact that you can even say that and see that, Audra, that's huge. That's amazing, because once you see it, once you have the awareness, then you can start to use this in your everyday life to clear this and to change that story. And so, for example, and this is how the bad things that come into your life can help you. So the next time something goes wrong, and who knows what that will be, right? But you know something will go wrong because that is life. The next time that something goes wrong, start to see if you can notice that that story is playing in your head. So I've done something wrong, because if something goes wrong, it means that I'm not the good girl anymore. Like, see if you can start to be the gentle observer to that belief and that fear story that is running in your mind. Because once you're aware of it, once you see it, you're no longer lost to it. And then what you do, and this is why it's a moment-to-moment thing, then what you do as you give yourself the ability to turn towards the thing that you feel is hard and scary and fearful, right? Because you have been running from that feeling that something is wrong with you for a long time. And you have probably been running away from that feeling that you're broken for a long time, right? So if you can, once something goes wrong, if you can lean into whatever that fear story is and lean into it, and when you face the lion, when you face the fear, then you're intuitively guided to what you need next. Maybe it's to scream. Maybe it's to write a note to yourself. Maybe it is to cry, whatever it is that you are afraid of feeling, and whatever comes up for you, lean into it. And that's how we use our daily lives, and we use the things in our life that come our way to help us heal. Because when you turn to them and you face them and you realize that by feeling them, you heal them and they move through you, you change that story for yourself, right? And you release emotions that need to be released, and you start to get familiar with whatever that fear story is for you. And if you start listening and being the gentle observer of your fear story, you will notice it's a young you. It is little you in your mind saying, this isn't fair. It's always a victim too, right? Like, this isn't fair. I've been being good this whole time. Why did this happen to me? I've done what I was supposed to. I tried to be good and things bad are still happening. I must be doing something bad. Whatever that story is, right? You'll notice it's young. And truly what that young girl needs is your attention. She needs you to see her. She needs you to allow her to feel whatever she needs to feel, because that's how you heal her, right? Let's be tender with those parts of ourselves that need love, because we didn't get it when we were young, because nobody taught us how to feel our emotions in this way. And so a lot of us are also taught that you should, if you're angry, that's bad, or if you're mad, that's bad, or Or if you're sad, stop crying, you know, like those parts of ourselves that weren't allowed to express and feel and that felt wrong or bad, they need to be loved. I mean, it's as simple as that. And that's what's going on. So that is the bigger picture of how this healing path works and how we can use every single day of our life, if we're aware and if we're awake and if we're willing to start leaning into whatever's going on, to help us understand ourselves better, to help us understand the fear stories that are running our lives, to help us get clear on the false beliefs that we picked up. Because once you are aware and once you are seeing it, you're no longer lost to it. And then the next step, like I just said, is to allow yourself to be with what you find there. Because again, if you listen to the fear, it's going to be probably a younger version of you or some part of you that needs to be healed. And it may be that just looking at it for a split second is enough for it to move through you. You'll know by how you feel. You'll know by how you feel, and it's going to feel a little scary at first because, hello, we've spent our whole lives running away from emotions and feelings that we deem as wrong, that we deem as bad. But there's nothing bad or wrong about them, and embracing those parts of you that want to be seen and loved, that is loving the whole you. That is accepting the whole you, and that's how you move from self-improvement, which a lot of people get caught up in, which is, I need to fix myself, there's something wrong with me, I'm broken, let me read this self-help book, and this self-help book, and this self-help book, and fix myself, right? And a lot of people get caught in that trap. But if you move to self-awareness and you move to self-acceptance and you accept all parts of you that are coming up to be healed and you give them the attention and love that you need, then that's super helpful. And I think it's also helpful as you start to find these parts of yourself that want to be healed. If it helps, you can even give that little you that obviously is crying for attention a name. You know, like it can be whatever your little you or this, and I heard this from someone else recently as well, and I think it's amazing how things come into my life right at the right time so that I can find new ways to present this material for you. But the idea of naming that part of you that feels scared really helps, you know? Little Chris is what because Christine is my middle name, and for whatever reason, little Chris is what I'm calling that 12-year-old who's, you know, this morning she showed up again, overwhelmed, scared. Like it's that hopeless, helpless side of me that comes up when I feel like there's things I can't control. And little Chris is what I call her. Oh, okay, little Chris, I see you. You're okay. And just by giving her attention, it moves through me much faster. So I wanted to share that because I think that helps to think about this process and to recognize that everything that comes our way and every experience that we're having is going to help us. So let me go in and answer some of these questions really quick. Rosalind, your questions, and Kate, your response to her question, they're so perfect because they really tie in all of these ideas. So Rosalind is talking about how, okay, I'm just going to read this out loud. Oh, good, Kate. I'm so glad it helps. Rosalind says, and I'm going to answer the first half of the question, the last half of the question first, and then go back because it'll be easier for me to do it here, I think, to answer it this way. So although I've been losing weight and changing my mindset, some weird feelings have been coming up. I've been using MyFitnessPal to track what I eat, not a restrictive thing like it used to be, just a tool to be aware and alert of what's going on. Different connections, how different food feels to me. Then that's great. Just so you know, that's great because you're raising your awareness around what feels good and how much food you actually need to feel good. And if you can do that gently, that's awesome. But let me just finish reading this. I feel so full. In addition to all my big mindset shifts, of course, the strange feelings coming up when I'm logging my food and I see those low numbers of the calories logged. I can't help but be reminded of my restrictive days. It brings up the sense of pride I used to feel in high school when I would be able to skip breakfast and lunch and only eat dinner. Oh my God, I used to do that too. If I could skip the beginning meals and have coffee and just smoke, And if I managed not to eat until dinner, I felt like I was winning, right? Like somehow that was winning. And then I'd have a lean cuisine, like 300 calories for dinner, and think that that was a good day, right? Completely starving myself. So I get that. I guess I'm trying to say that losing weight is making me uncomfortable, dredging up feelings connected to other times I've lost weight, and reminding me what I now recognize as unhealthy thoughts, like being super proud of myself for eating very little. I'm also struggling with the excitement I feel over losing weight. I feel like being excited about the change is undermining the message I've been trying to send for months of I love and accept myself. I get caught up in imagining how much better I'll feel. Okay, so let me break this down because this is so helpful, and this is how you do this kind of work. Nothing's going wrong here, Rosalind. This is happening exactly the way that it should, and this is happening to help you. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not sliding back into whatever old ways you used to be in. You're starting to make yourself aware of some of the old beliefs. You know about these things now. And now that they're starting to come up as you start to do these things, they're coming up to be healed. They're coming up so you don't have to live according to that belief that you're doing a good job if you skip meals and you only eat once a day. That belief that somehow you had pride when you would lose the weight. Like all of those things that you used to do, you don't have to do anymore, right? And the fact that these things are coming up for you now, it's because you're ready to see them, and you're ready to heal them, and you're ready to move past them. So when things like this happen, when you notice these old stories and you notice these beliefs, and you are, so first off, thank goodness you are aware enough to see that this is going on. Before, you would have never been able to see this. Without all of this amazing work that you've been doing to love and accept yourself, all of that inner work is all adding up perfectly so that you are now able to see that fear story that is starting to pop up in your mind. Now that you see it, instead of running away from it and instead of thinking, oh, this is bad, this is scary, this means I'm going back into that place where I used to live and I don't want to go there. I want to love and accept myself the way I am. Instead of running away from it, which is our natural inclination, I want you to open up to it, right? Because these things are coming up so that they can be healed. And what we resist persists, right? I also love this idea that pain is a part of life, but suffering is optional. Suffering is what happens when we don't allow ourselves to open up to the fears that we have, right? So this story, right? Once you can be the gentle observer of this story, then you can take a moment to get into your heart, right? And to just turn towards those fears. And again, you can notice that it's a young voice, right? It's your high school voice that you're hearing here. And just even say out loud, because this will help you break the spell. You can even say out loud, I see you. I see you. I see that you're scared. I see you. I see your fear. I see that, and I'm here for you, right? Just turning towards that fearful voice and turning towards that story and turning towards all of those, that bound up emotional energy, because that's what it is. There's all this bound up emotional energy inside of you left over from the days when you used to starve yourself. This is coming to you now because it wants to be freed. And when you turn towards it and you say, I see you, I know you're scared. I know that you don't want to go back to that place. I'm here for you. What do you need? You will open up your ability to heal. You will open yourself up to that pain that is just dying to be released, right? And then you'll just be intuitively guided to whatever needs to happen next. You might feel overwhelmed and start crying because you're going to suddenly be back to where you were when you were 16 and you felt so insecure. That's okay. Allow it. You might feel like yelling. You might feel like writing a note. You might feel like it doesn't matter. Just be intuitively guided and let yourself feel whatever is there, because there is some part of you that is stuck in that place, that 16-year-old place, or that, 20 years, or for me, 20 years of trying to starve myself. Like, That part of you wants to be seen, wants to be loved, and wants to be healed. And healing is not complicated. What heals? Love heals. Our present attention on it heals. And you can ask yourself what it is that you need, right? You can even say, what do you need right now? Most likely they just need to be seen, and they just need to feel whatever it is, and then it'll pass through you whatever way it's supposed to, right? So that is literally turning towards the monster in the closet, literally. So it's different, I know, because when these feelings come up, immediately you're in that fear story. Oh God, why is this coming back? I thought I did all this work on myself to love and accept myself, and suddenly I'm feeling the exact same way that I did. That's the fear story, right? So if you can start to remind yourself, and this is why things like mantra bands and, you know, putting affirmations places where you notice that these kind of stories start coming up, they'll be like your reminder. Oh wait, I'm not going to just get lost in that fear story. That's not me. I am underneath that. I am going to be the gentle observer to that fear story and realize this is a big red flag for me. This is like SOS. Hey, I'm here to let you know that there's something that needs to be healed. There's some part of you that needs attention, that needs love, that needs care, that needs your presence, right? That's all it is. And so if you, for example, Kate, you answered, you beautiful response to Rosalind here, that you are starting to be aware that of your own false beliefs and all of this. And that's beautiful how you recognize that. And you also say how you are starting to weigh yourself and feeling compulsive desires to want to weigh yourself. That is awesome, because that, again, it's like a giant SOS. It's like the golden ticket, which I know you're gonna understand. The golden ticket, because every time now you feel that compulsion to step on the scale, if you put a note on the scale that says, hold on, there's something for you here. There's something that wants to be healed and seen. That compulsive behavior is going to guide you back to what needs to be seen, to what needs to be healed. It's going to help you get out of this belief story that you're only lovable or you're only going to get attention if you are doing something drastic, because that's the story that's probably playing out. For each of us, the story is going to be a different thing, but it'll break that belief system down, right? Because you will be aware to it. And every time you feel the urge to get on the scale, that's awesome, because that means it's another chance for you to become aware of what needs your attention. So if you struggle with the scale and you can't get here yet in the beginning of the program, Kate, you've been in the program for 6 months, so I know you're ready to do this. If you're just starting the program, the idea of turning to your fears might be a little bit too much because you're just getting aware. So don't worry. Give yourself a little more time to be gentle with yourself and to do the affirmations, because what you're doing in the beginning of the course is you're slowing the momentum of fear. You're starting to get back on your own team. You're starting to even understand that you have control over what you think, and it can take a while until you're ready to turn around and face the lion, which is what I'm talking about here. I see you, little Katie. I know you need my attention. Perfect. Katie, I love how you use the word Katie because it's so loving. You know, that is perfect. And so everybody here can do that. They can, you know, once you start turning to the fear, give it a name, because all the fear is a part of you that wants love. That's it. A part of you that wants love and attention. And our compulsions are little flags to tell us, hold on. There's something here for you. There's something that needs your attention. And instead of eating the cake, instead of running out to the store and getting a bottle of wine and ignoring yourself, which is what we've been doing for many years, running away from our feelings, running away from the things that I was Katie up until college. Happened on purpose, Kate. Katie came out on purpose. That's awesome. But in any case, when we start turning towards those things, right? Oh, wait, I have this incredible urge to smoke right now. What is that about? And we turn towards it. Instead of just letting it take over, we turn towards it and we say, there's something here for me. There's a part of me that is feeling incredibly anxious and incredibly overwhelmed, and she needs some attention and she needs some love. And when you turn towards it, whatever you need will be there for you. You will know. You will know. And starting to love those parts of yourself that are dying to be seen, and starting to allow yourself to release those blocked emotions. That is what healing is. And this is why this is not the quick fix, right? Every situation, every single day, situations will come to us that will allow us to lean into the fear, to get aware, to start to be the gentle observer to the fear story, and then to open up to what's there for us, right? And every day you'll find something, and it's this gentle, easy unfolding of life where life is bringing you what you need to heal, what you need to stop the compulsions. So even though you think the compulsions are there to make you crazy, there actually can be a doorway into healing yourself if you open up to them, right? Instead of trying to control them, instead of making yourself wrong for them, you know, why do I want to weigh myself all the time? Why am I being so compulsive with this, Rosalind? You know, why am I feeling good about wanting to starve myself? Why am I starting to get excited about losing weight? Instead of making ourselves wrong for them, open up to them, because they're coming up to be seen and to be healed. That's it. And it's amazing, amazing how you start to look at life in a very different way, and you start to be grateful. You know, that emotional story I told you guys last, or the beginning of this week, about my father, after it was said and done, as emotional as it was, I was so happy it happened, because it helped me. I've been doing this kind of work for a while, and I have, as you know, a challenging childhood I have a ton of wounds. I mean, I have a ton of blocked emotional pain. I've been doing this for a while, and it's, you know, most of the time I'm not in that place, but I get back there sometimes, just like I explained, and that's because there's still some parts of me that are scared. There's some parts of me some emotions that need to come up. And that part that came up last week, that's the scariest one for me, the one from last week. Hello. That's the scariest one for me. It's that helpless, hopeless. That is by far the little part of me, little Chris is what I'm calling her now, that always scared me the most, because it was just absolute terror and hopelessness and helplessness of, God, can somebody just give me a lifeline here? I had no idea what to do to take care of myself and Lori, and I was terrified. And that's the part that I've left to the end to heal. That's the part that I'm finally allowing in, because, and I believe it's the reason why I ended up here back in DC, because again, life is for us, and I'm not sure I would have seen her if I wasn't in these situations with my parents and allowing that to come up. And I don't want to be run by that belief, and I don't want to be run by that part of me that desperately wants to be healed. And so by allowing her to be seen, and I say her because they're all just us, it's all just old emotional energy, but for me, giving her a name. Like this morning, it happened again. I got into a funk only for like 10 minutes, but I was in that same funk, and I was getting frustrated, and I was snapping, and I was like, whew, like now I knew. I was like, hold on, and I sat down, and I was like, it's little Chris. She's feeling overwhelmed, she's feeling anxious. What does she need? And she just needed to be seen. She just needed my attention. She just needed to be healed. And that you heal something with love. And instead of making her wrong, which is what I did for years, which is, you're so stupid, you're so dumb, pull yourself together, you're gonna have to grocery shop, you're gonna have to figure this out, being sad and feeling angry is not gonna help you, don't feel those things, you just need to survive, you need to go to the store and you need to shop, it doesn't matter what you buy. You know, like, I denied that little me any compassion, because I didn't know what to do. I was lost. I was young. And God, it makes me cry right now, because she was, God, did I deserve compassion? Of course. but I didn't allow it. So now I allow it. And that's what she wants, is she wants love, and she wants someone to say, you're okay. You can handle this. And then you get out of letting that victim side of you run the show, that part of you that's can't breathe, overwhelmed, you know, and you love her. And then you bring yourself back into the power spot of your life where the stronger, heartful, beautiful you is running the show, not that part of you that feels victimized or that part of you that feels scared or terrified. You let her come up and be seen so that you are able to heal her, so that she is no longer running the show, right? So that is how that works. Rosalind, I'm going to go up to the top part of your question. I know this is a really weird way to answer the question. But you have these other thoughts that you're having. You see, I keep having thoughts about bad things. I go through these awful scenarios where I imagine one of my parents dying. And I imagine how one of my parents dying and how it would affect the remaining parent. I imagine my dog dying, and I think about what I would do with her leash after she's gone. Depressing stuff like that. These scenarios make me sad, but they don't get me spinning, but I kind of wish they didn't come up nearly each day. Same thing, Rosalind. These stories are coming up because there's something for you to be healed. I am guessing it's a very young you that feels like she can't control life, right? And we can't. None of us knows when our parents are going to die, or when our dog is going to die, or when we are going to die. The truth is, life is completely uncontrollable. We don't know, right? But that small part of you, I'm guessing this is going to be, it could be something happened when you were young, and so there's some story, like someone you love died when you were young. I don't know. But my point is that you say these scenarios make you sad, and I'm glad they're not getting you spinning. That means you have enough awareness and all this beautiful work that you've been doing. It's enough for you to see it. So disconnect, be the gentle observer of that story, and then open up to what is there. Open up to what is there, because there's something there for you to see and to come up. There's blocked emotions there that want to come up to be healed. That's why this is coming to you. It's giving you a chance to heal something in you that wants to be healed, right? These sort of stories, this fear story that is running your mind, it's just a story. But you have to be the gentle observer to it, open up to the emotions that are there, and see what comes up, and just see how you're intuitively guided to heal whatever's there. I'm guessing it's a control thing. I'm guessing you are desperate to want to control everything because you don't want to have to feel pain, right? How you feel like you don't have the tools to feel pain, and so you're wanting to control life so you don't have to deal with this. But we all have the ability to get our emotional needs met, every single one of us. Pain is a part of life. Every single one of us is going to have somebody die. Every single one of us is going to have a dog and then have that dog die. And you have a story running in your head convincing you that you can't handle any of that, that you can't deal with that. So you're trying to control it so you don't have to. So once you get really familiar with that story, and again, you can call that part of yourself another name, whatever feels good to you. Maybe that's like crazy, what would be a good name? Over anxious Lou, I don't know, but ooh, I see you, Lou. I see that you're scared. I see that you're afraid of not being able to deal with pain. I see that, but does that mean there is something there as well? Oh, Kate, you think about your dog dying every day. Hold on, let me go back to the questions because I see some good ones coming up. All questions are good ones, but I don't want to miss these. Same thing. Something's there for you. You're terrified you can't handle the pain that's going to come with your dog dying. Guess what? Dog's going to come. Dog's going to eventually die. So you might as well, get comfortable with the idea that you can't handle the pain. Something's there for you in that, Kate. Something's there for you. And it's the part of you that needs reassuring that you're capable and powerful and that you can handle what's coming your way, right? And you can. You can. Everybody's dog is going to die before they are. I mean, unless not everybody, but the chances of you outliving your dog in rational thinking are slim to none. And so what that is bringing up is that part of you, that irrational part of you that doesn't ever want your dog to die, and you believing you can't handle the pain. So lean into it. Tell that part of yourself that you can handle it. You will handle it. You're capable. You have all these skills. You are now learning how to get your emotional needs met. You've come so far, right? Soothe yourself. Let it come up. Let it be seen. Those thoughts are there to help you. Everything in life is coming to help us. Okay, let me see if I can find, I don't know why I can't find the live video. Hold on. Because, Molly, I saw a question from you and I want to answer it. And I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm not saying it's not, you're going to have to grieve your dog. You're going to have to grieve when your dog passes away. I'm not saying grieving is going to be easy, but I am saying that we all have the capability to do it. And Heather says, me too, with the car accident fear. Great. So as we start to get familiar with, darn, Molly, I lost your comment. I'll go back after the live and try and pull it up there. I'm going to just start keeping, it's only taken me 100 lives to figure this out, but maybe if I keep it right here, I can see it scroll up, because the comments, oh, it's the same thing. It's the same relating to visualizing horrible things happening to ourselves. I will often visualize myself getting into awful car accidents. Yeah, totally. And instead of freaking yourself out and thinking that something's wrong, because what do we do when we have thoughts that terrify us? We make ourselves wrong for them. We're like, oh my God, why do I keep imagining myself in a car accident? What is that? Oh my God, that's terrible. Stop thinking about that. Stop thinking about that. Guess what happens when you tell yourself to stop thinking about it? You keep thinking about it. You make yourself completely nutso. And then you're like, what's wrong with me? Why am I having these kind of horrible thoughts? Do I want to die? Is there something wrong with me? Oh my God. We get completely caught up in our fear story. We make ourselves wrong. We make ourselves shameful. We don't accept ourselves. We run away from that part of us. We want to pretend like it's not there. That must be, I'm broken. That's a broken piece of me. I don't want to look at that. Let's pretend it's not there. Instead, open up to it. See what's there for you to be healed. It's a part of you that wants to be healed. It's a little you who probably felt that there was something, maybe again, only it's going to be different for every single one of us. So I can only guide you into opening up to those sort of things. So how you do that is you be a gentle observer of that story, and then you say, a good way to disconnect you from it, because you're not that story, you're underneath that. So a good way to do that is even to say out loud, I see you, fear. I see you, fear. I'm not going to run away from you. I see you. I know there's something here for me. You open to it. And then you see what comes up to be healed. Maybe it's going to be 8-year-old you whose grandmother passed away unexpectedly and she's scared. Maybe, I don't know, right? Only you're going to know. But open up to that and know that I used to think that if I opened up to my feelings, because I spent so long running away from them and I never let myself cry. Like crying was totally unacceptable, because feeling feelings for me when I was young felt very unsafe. I didn't have time for feelings. I had to survive. I had to go and do things to survive. And feeling and letting myself, what I felt, like get overwhelmed in my feelings, felt unsafe. So I didn't allow it. So I was numbing myself out because I was so emotionally trapped, right? But when you think it's going to overwhelm you, which is why we run away from it, which is why I didn't let myself feel for so long, which is why I would be so scared and not let myself cry. What you find is when you go into the feelings, they want to come up. They want to be healed. They want to be released. And it actually feels so much better to stop running. It feels so much better to be like, I see you. I see that little you who's scared. I see you, fear. I see you. And see what comes up and see what you're intuitively guided to do, and see, how you can use it to help you understand the fear story, right? Because in addition to the visualizing of the car accident or the visualizing of the dog dying or whatever's going on, it's like you are creating a scenario. It's like we're almost I'm trying to get the right words here. it's like we know we're only, like we all know eventually we're gonna die, right? But we're all really scared to face that. And it's like we're doing it in some ways to help us escape, right? Like maybe there's some part of you, some small part of you, and Molly, no shame in this, but see how this feels. Maybe there's some part of you that does want to die because it all feels like too much. God knows I had that. I used to have suicidal thoughts all the time. And that's okay too, to get comfortable with that little girl part of you, or that part of you that feels like she can't handle it. Because once you give her attention and you let her be seen and you give her care and you say, what do you need? Which is you basically getting the love and support and compassion that you need, then you'll start to handle those fears in a different way. But again, you got to go into the things. You got to face the lions and the tigers and the bears. By running away, what we do is we suffer, right? We all have pain. We all have experiences in life that have caused us pain. We all have future experiences coming up that are going to cause us pain. But when we don't allow ourselves to feel it, when we don't allow ourselves to be a human being having pain, when we run away from it and resist it and stuff it down and whatever else we do, we create suffering, right? And you can stop your suffering today by opening up to it, knowing that life will only bring you what you're ready to see and what you're ready to heal. I wasn't even ready to look at little Chris until, it's been coming up a lot since I moved home. And I'll tell you what, giving her a name is helpful. I wasn't ready to see little Chris yet because she was by far the scariest part of that. Was just, locked away. I wasn't ready yet. I had to, these other layers had to come off, and life will bring you what you're ready to see and what you're ready to heal. And that is truly what the healing journey is about. And that is, it changes your life, but you have to give yourself, the compassion, the awareness, the consciousness, the courage, the 4 C's that I talked about. Molly says, I had a high school friend who died in a drunk driving accident our sophomore year of college. That might have something to do with it. Yeah, I just love how that came to you right now. Again, that's life bringing you what you need to get clarity. Of course that has something to do with it. That probably scared the bejesus out of you. There's probably a part of you that never grieved that in an appropriate way because no one taught you how. And how could your parents teach you how when they didn't know how, right? And how could anybody teach us? This is not stuff, this is now starting to get out there. There is so much more emotional healing information out there. In that video from that show, This Is Us, just broke my heart into, I just was crying when I watched it because I was happy. Because we need to release those emotions. We all walk around with these huge, scary things that happen to us. Father dying, friend dying in a car accident. We stuff it down and we don't allow ourselves the grace and the compassion and the healing that we need. So Molly, I am thinking for sure, and you will know as you start opening to this, that the you that was in high school that felt terrified of losing a friend needs some attention and needs some care and needs to be seen and needs to be loved and needs to be told that it's okay that you're sad and you'll know what you need. Again, you will intuitively be guided to what you need and you will bring it up when you're ready. Obviously, you're ready to see this. So yeah, every time you start spinning that car accident story in your mind, that's your clue. Oh wait, there's something here for me. And then you'll start to get clear. It'll all start to unwind. That's amazing. That's amazing. I am so happy that you were able to unwind that here together. Isn't that amazing? Like, it's once you see it and once certain things click, like, it's such a relief because you understand yourself, Suddenly you're like, oh, I'm not a lunatic who just walks around saying she wants, you get it. You see how it's happening and you see that it was your way of surviving, right? Maybe playing that story somehow was your way of dealing with the emotions, whatever. You get it. You're ready to see it. You're ready to heal from it. How many times will something have to come to you until it's fully healed? I don't know. I don't know. I was listening to Mary O'Malley on a podcast, who's a new mentor who I'm just loving. And she says, work of a lifetime. You might think something's gone and then suddenly it'll come back, but it'll be smaller and you won't be as scared of it because you have the tools. it's really the beginning of just starting to turn towards those lions and tigers and bears that feels the hardest. At least it was for me, because I was so unaccustomed to it, and I had to convince myself that I wasn't going to lose myself in it. But when you bring loving patience and compassion to the feelings that need to be healed and the emotions that want to be released, you don't get overwhelmed by it, because you're there in loving presence. You're there to take care of yourself. So amazing. I love that. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to stop this one and then answer another question, because there's 4 other questions in here, and I want to try and do this like mini live thing again so that Kay doesn't have to watch all of this before I get to her question. But Rosalind, I think this is going to click for you. I think this is going to help. I'm so excited because I feel like I just cannot wait to get more of this into the course. It's there, but I feel like this is a little more clear, right? And I love this idea that life is for us and everything that comes to us is there to help us and to guide us. And I believe that, and I've known that, but for some reason, it just feels like a lot of clarity right now around this. And Molly, I'm so excited you just cleared that. And I know, Kate, that you've been clearing some things. It's awesome. It's amazing. And the more we do that, the more we're able, it doesn't like you have to clear for like 2 or 3 years before you're able to get into joy. You will get into a joyful place immediately after you do that one time with the scale, Kate, or you, Molly, because immediately you're freed from it. Like, it doesn't take years and years and years. As soon as you do it one time, you'll feel so much lighter, because you will have released some of that emotional pain. You will be aware of what's going on, and you will be giving yourself confidence that you can handle it when it comes up again, or whatever comes your way again. So that will start to be the driving factor in your life that keeps you inspired and keeps you on track, because you are in your power, healing yourself and getting back into the joy of life. You know, oh, good, Kate, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, it's not like you have to clear. I mean, my God, if I had to wait to feel good until I cleared everything in my life, I'd never feel good, because I have so much stuff. I have so much emotional energy, and I had a challenging childhood, so there's a lot there. Obviously, that's still coming up, and that doesn't mean that I don't live in joy. I live in joy because I'm in a space where I'm in the healing path, and I'm open to it coming up. And even though at times it's hard, I know I can handle it. And guess what? Life is hard. It's much easier to be doing it this way than to be running away from it. And that's where the light and the joyness comes, because then you're like, I get it. Like, it clicks. So that's awesome. I'm happy. All right, let me go and answer the other questions. I'll be right back.